With Smackdown going head-to-head with Rampage again and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 29th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about who she would like to induct her into the Hall of Fame, Natalya told WWE Deutschland, "I've thought very closely about Beth Phoenix because she was a part of the most influential, special moments in my career, and has been my best friend throughout this entire journey of WWE. Beth would be the right fit." She also has someone else in mind, the current NWA owner and Smashing Pumpkins frontman. "I'm really good friends with Billy Corgan, and I love his passion for pro wrestling. I think about often how unique it would be to have somebody who is not in the wrestling world, not in WWE. I know Billy is NWA, but Billy is somebody who, in the early days of my career, when I almost gave up, I had a really bad knee injury and I was sidelined for 9 to 12 months. I couldn't wrestle and it was my first really bad injury. I met Billy at Bret Hart's Hall of Fame ceremony and we became friends. He really motivated me and inspired me to keep fighting for my dreams. I go back to those days and I remember thinking, I don't think I'm meant to do this. This injury is a sign that I should get out and this isn't for me. I don't want to get hurt again. I coincidentally met Billy and he was really instrumental and pushed me to keep going and fighting for your dreams. He shared his story with me. He would be an interesting one to induct me because what an incredible musician he is, but it's no unique that someone like Billy is a part of my career and people don't always know how instrumental he was in keeping me in the game. Given that she is a former Smackdown Women's Divas and Tag Team Champion, Natalya certainly earned her place in the Hall of Fame." At the Monaco Streaming Film Festival, AEW President Tony Khan mentioned how the idea for the company came together, saying it started with him asking TNT about bidding for WWE TV rights. "I know for me, TV rights fees was literally the conversation that started AEW. I went up to the president of TNT and TBS and talked to him about rights fees he was potentially looking to spend if he bid on a WWE TV package, and he wouldn't have gotten it anyway because I think he was willing to spend over maybe $150 million. He wasn't prepared to spend the $205 million it actually ended up being, and furthermore it made more sense what I was saying to him, which was, if that's the case, if you're really prepared to spend that much kind of money, I think it would make more sense for us to talk. And I had a conversation I never dreamed we were going to have, but I said, you know, we should sit down and talk about what if I started a wrestling company. We can build the startup and put a lot less money into it and get a lot more value," which is true, and I've delivered that value. On Cheap Heat, one half of RK Bro Matt Riddle touched on his past with Goldberg. With them on better terms these days, he revealed he wanted a match against him next year. "I won't call you out, but I'll say this, Bill Goldberg, I'll be honest, I think I've grown on the guy. I think he's grown on me a little. I think that match can possibly happen. We both went to Saudi. We were both on the same airplane. We bumped into each other quite a few times on that airplane. I think we can get that match. I think we can pull that one out. No promises, but I'm hoping by 2022 we get Riddle versus Goldberg. It will sell tickets. Out of those matchups, I see that one happening, being the most realistic. I don't think he's ready for me yet. I think I ruffled his feathers a little bit. He's a peacock. You know he doesn't like his feathers ruffled. Kind of like I rubbed Bill the wrong way. I don't think Bill was ready for a relationship with me. Now, over time, in a year, things have simmered down. As his most recent interaction with Goldberg ended in a fist bump and sharing of congratulations, it seems this match could be a possibility. Speaking of Goldberg, he talked to Rung Rules in Saudi Arabia, revealing he has one more month on his WWE deal. "I still feel as though I can wrestle. I still feel as though I can entertain. After this match, I have one more match on my contract, and that's it. We'll see what happens. You never know. Oh, you never know. You never know what the next day brings. So if people want that, we'll see if we can give them what they want. You never know." WWE Champion Big E has previously mentioned having a match with the WCW legend, and given Goldberg's recent win over the former champion Lashley, that bout seems the most likely to take place. On the Throwing Down podcast, AEW star Jon Moxley talked about the wrestling industry of today, comparing it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is not the case anymore in 2021. There's real fighting, which is what you do, and there's this. Fans are very passionate about it, but they know nobody's being fooled into thinking they're watching a legitimate thing. That's a completely different separate sport now in 2021. What it is now is like the Marvel Universe, for instance. In real life, no one can shoot spiderwebs out of their fingers or whatever, but in the Marvel Universe, there's a guy that can, and that's accepted, and you know that. So when you shoot somebody in the face with a spiderweb, Spider-Man, you totally accept it. So in pro wrestling, it's like you have to understand the universe, and then once you accept it, like this is the fictional universe we're living in, then you're into it. Moxley recently beat 10 in the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament on Dynamite as he looks to advance and recapture his title. After becoming a mainstay in the WWE Cruiserweight division, Tony Nese now finds himself in AEW. Speaking to Chris Van Vliet, Nese claimed he changed his ring gear in WWE due to Vince McMahon. So the premier athlete is still going to be who I am and what I represent, but I do want it to be a little bit more of a serious thing rather than, hey, look at my abs. I love being booed and flexing. At the same time, I changed up my look to where I am wearing more branded stuff. In WWE, I was just trying to pop by getting gear that just looked good. I wore a jacket because they told me I needed something up top. They said you should wear something, but don't cover up anything. For one show, I wore a He-Man type thing, but nobody thought it looked cool. In fact, Vince said, "Is he wearing a bra out there?" Straight after I heard that, I threw it into the trash. But now, I think this is getting old and it does not represent me. I want to be taken more seriously. I want to be my own brand. That's the attitude I'm going in with. I still will be kissing my biceps and flexing though. Nese also revealed he still had a year left on his WWE deal before his release, as he hinted at matching up against Adam Cole in AEW. Charlotte Flair has been on the receiving end of issues backstage in WWE since her shouting match with Becky Lynch behind the scenes following their awkward title exchange on TV. The Wrestling Observer noted that there is now another reason Flair has heat with WWE stars. There has been unhappiness for a long time between Flair and many, if not most, of the women's wrestlers on the roster for little things, and some things that have to do with match structure. One of the complaints is that Flair wants to be a heel, is a heel, but does babyface moves during matches, notably the dives or moonsaults in and out of the ring, with those in Flair's inner circle apparently pushing for her to get out of her WWE deal. It remains to be seen what happens with the Queen. Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson is not only now a part of WWE, but he has been drafted to Raw. Speaking on After the Bell, Steveson mentioned the advice he received from Brock Lesnar during his freshman year of college. Brock was getting me ready for my very long journey that he knew I was going to have. Before I even won the national title, before I was even doing the things that I do now, Brock came in my freshman year of college. He talked to me about winning and friends and having the right people, having the right circle around you, having guys like that who you really do not see that are big time ballers and players in the world, to have them come in and sit me down and give me the good idea of how his life was and how he became so successful and tried to put it into me. All of it was like a once in a lifetime thing that you have to listen to. With him having remote training facilities from WWE, it'll be interesting to see how his run goes following his debut. With TV insider Rey Mysterio talked about being able to work with his son Dominik in WWE, where he revealed that he considered retiring. "Before my son stepped in the ring, I thought maybe it was time to hang up the mask. Having my son kick off his career gave me a moment of renewal. It was a rebirth. I see my son wrestle now, and see myself from the early days. It definitely inspired me to stay in this industry because I have so much passion for this. I thought I was losing my passion in 2019, and that my career was coming to an end. My son was able to boost my energy and help me keep going." Rey has previously said that his son will outshine him in WWE. While Rey also said he is against the idea of feuding with his son, he did mention that he's open to them being split up. In a quick update, WWE is having a new hiring directive to bring in more short referees to make WWE stars look taller, as the Observer reported. In another way to make talent look taller, there is a directive to hire shorter referees. Given the rebranding and release is taking place in Ring of Honor, Sports Illustrated would report that the ROH tape library is also available and will go to the highest bidder. ROH has been privately trying to move the library, the Sinclair-owned archive from 2012 on, for more than a year. That includes the All-In pay-per-view on September 18th, which was the precursor to AEW. Of course, this might not be the case, with F4W Online noting, from multiple sources in several companies, it does not appear the ROH tape library is for sale at this point. WWE has announced that there will be an encore presentation of Smackdown on FS1 tonight, which will go head-to-head with Rampage again. Friday night's Smackdown began a new chapter last week, and the Blue brand will continue the explosive era this week on FS1 at 8/7 Central. Smackdown will take over FS1 on Friday, as 2 encore presentations will immediately follow the regular broadcast airing at 8 p.m. Eastern. Last week on the Blue brand, Brock Lesnar came hunting for Universal Champion Roman Reigns and earned an indefinite suspension. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks delivered fireworks around the Smackdown women's title landscape. King Woods was officially coronated, and much more. What will this week have in store when Smackdown heads to FS1? When they last went head-to-head for 30 minutes, Smackdown had more overall viewers, but Rampage had a higher rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. Still, Smackdown's replay episode managed to beat Dynamite in the ratings this week. When it comes to selling tickets for Raw and UBS Arena on Long Island for November 29th, WWE is having trouble doing so and are now offering special deals to fans. As Andrew Baydala noted, to those who are thinking about attending Raw at UBS Arena on November 29th in New York, use code TREAT for 2-for-1 tickets. AEW will be holding an event in the same venue on December 8th, with them selling more than 6,000 tickets by September 19th, whereas WWE had only sold 2,500 tickets by that time. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.